Hey everybody, we are live here and I'm really excited for this event. I'm in between patients right now. We consult patients around the world for people that don't know via webcam consultations, and I just am taking some time between visits right now to talk to my good friend and amazing leader in the space, Bryan from Eaton Hemp. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Dr. Cole. It's great to be here. Thank you for everyone who is in the room, and we'll wait a little bit longer for others to join and just get settled in here. But it's great to see your face, Will. It's been a little while, and it's been some crazy times.
It is crazy times, and I'm really excited that I think it's an important conversation that we're going to be having today, talking about CBD, talking about inflammation, how to use CBD appropriately, when to take it, how much to take it, what's it good for, all the stuff that I think people want to know. We're going to be covering today. So it is a crazy time that we're living in, but I think it's really great that we can connect to people around the world like we're doing right now to talk about really important stuff. So how have you been doing through this time?
I've been doing well. You know, I think this is one of those times where mental health and positivity, I think, are tantamount to really staying healthy. So I've been focusing a lot on that, along with my regimens of physical exercise and my different supplements. But I think this time has also offered the opportunity to connect with people that we've either been too busy to connect with, or we've used geographical proximity as a reason that we couldn't. And I think this is kind of recalibrating how we use technology and tools for connecting. So I've really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, it's a great point. Really great point. So I guess we can get started if people are joining here. And so for people that don't know about Eaton Hemp, can you walk them through about the genesis of Eaton Hemp and what you guys are bringing to the health space?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been a long and strange journey, which is exactly how I would expect it to be and want it to be. Myself and my two founding partners, Dan Dolgen and Mark Just, founded Eaton Hemp about 3.5 years ago. And, they own a large organic farm here in upstate New York, 2,500 plus acres. They're really active on the policy side, and we're the first farm licensed to grow hemp in New York State. And Dan, who comes from a government background, helped to rewrite policy to allow that to come to fruition. So we're very active in that regard. We originally launched through food-based products using hemp as food. It's an incredibly nutritious food source. And so really excited, to bring that to the people and to reconnect. And so a lot of this journey has been about reconnecting people to the power of this plant, the plant being hemp, cannabis. There's a lot of confusion about that, obviously, and we'll get into deciphering some of the nuance there. But for us, a lot of this has been about reconnecting people. Hemp has been used as food and medicine for a very, very, very long time, and it's only since recently that we've become disconnected from that. And then, as we've been looking at the CBD space for a long time, and there's just so much confusion around it and so much different methodology. And we really, we're big believers that we want to get as educated and informed as we can before we go out there and do something. So we spent a lot of time behind the scenes researching, developing, and practicing. We have a seed breeding program that we run in our greenhouse. And so, we really wanted to make sure that we could bring the best possible product to market. And we launched that last November. So it's still pretty new, and we're really happy with the quality of the product we have. And we keep on refining that. And, that's really been the genesis of what brought us here. But I think the goal really as a company is to empower people to take control of their own health. I think there are a lot of people out there, this is my journey. I know this is a lot of people that we speak to's journey, where we're just either disenfranchised with a lot of the traditional methodologies in Western medicine, And I'm not looking to poo-poo on Western medicine. I think there's amazing things as well. If you need surgery, you go to surgery, and I think there's incredible doctors and practitioners out there. But I think, the more we can do as individuals to take care of ourselves in a preventative way, and in particular using natural plants as medicine, the better off we are.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you're right, there's so much misinformation out there with a lot of different things in the health space, but it's really good, I think, for us to be talking about CBD, because there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of conflicting information, and people are inundated with so much stuff out there they don't know what to get. So I'm excited to break down exactly what people should be looking for, and then how to use it and all that. I know that we got some questions in from people, and frequently asked questions that we get on social media. I think we can go over those today, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to really dive in.
Okay, well, one of the questions that we got was, why does inflammation plague so many people, and how to create awareness about this? And that's definitely a true thing. Inflammation is like CBD, I guess, in many ways, not really understood specifically. It's a very vague, maybe nebulous term for some people. Like, what are we talking about when we talk about inflammation? Inflammation is a product of our immune system. It's not inherently bad. It's just about homeostasis. It's about balance. It's the Goldilocks principle: not too high, not too low, but just right. And a lot of problems arise when inflammation is thrown out of balance. That is the commonality between just about every health problem under the sun. From autoimmune conditions, which is most of my patients, and hormonal problems, digestive problems, musculoskeletal issues, even the mental health space. There's a whole field of research that I talk a lot about in the Inflammation Spectrum, or my second book, this cytokine model of cognitive function. Cytokines are pro-inflammatory cells, and it's research looking at how inflammation is impacting how our brains work, impacting mental health. And we'll get into today of like CBD's role with that, right? Because I think that's quite fascinating, the research around it, which is why in the toolbox section in the Inflammation Spectrum, I mentioned CBD because of the exciting research around it and the practical application of it. But it's really about the modulation, the balancing of the immune system, thus calming inflammation, which is the product of the immune system, that's so imperative for people. It's just a matter of, okay, what tools in our life, like you said, what can we do today to have agency over wellness, to start to calm its inflammation, no matter what its manifestation looks like in your life, whether it's anxiety for one person, depression in one person, brain fog, fatigue in the next person, an autoimmune condition in the next person, or maybe it is the sore muscles and joints, maybe it is the digestive problem. These are all the far-reaching implications of chronic inflammation. So I know that we have this common love of different things that we can do in our life to calm inflammation, and one of those tools in our toolbox that we should consider is CBD to abate that chronic inflammation.
What it does, but CBD contains CB1 and CB2 in there, which works to stimulate our endocannabinoid system. And what's important to recognize about the endocannabinoid system is it regulates our immune system, it regulates our nervous system. So, I'm kind of thinking of it, it's kind of like this, moderator in our body. It's kind of the middleman who's we go into fight or flight very often these days. This is something that, fight or flight is a very old system built into us. And a lot of times in our modern world, we're experiencing that system when it's not warranted. Fight or flight is to help us to escape from a predator that's coming after us, or if we're doing something very dangerous, to stay focused and get through it. Well, nowadays we're so overworked, overstimulated, and overcaffeinated that our system is always on edge. And when we don't allow our system to get into, it's the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic state. When we don't allow ourselves to get in that parasympathetic state, we are always pumped with endorphins and with cortisol and adrenaline rather, and we're not able to recover in our body. And so when we're in these stress states, inflammation happens. Well, CBD helps to bring us into that parasympathetic state, which takes us out of fight or flight, as Dr. Cole, you said before, back to homeostasis. And homeostasis is this level resting place for the body where it could heal, where it could build, and it could do what it's designed to do. So CBD is incredible at dropping us back into that. And that's something that, certainly lowers our stress and therefore our inflammation in the body, which is critical. I mean, you can speak to this much better than I can, but that's kind of my look at it.
Well said. So you're absolutely right. A lot of people, and the people that are here right now listening to this, will know that most people in the West are in this sympathetic fight or flight state and a state of chronic inflammation. And this one of the major systems that is governing this inflammatory response and this stressed sympathetic state is the endocannabinoid system, or the ECS, as Brian had said. So one way to modulate, balance the endocannabinoid system, the ECS, is CBD. And it's a great way to lower inflammation levels naturally and to help the mood. And one of the, he's left the room. Maybe he'll come back. All right, guys, it's just me now. So one of the ways to help to modulate that is CBD, as I mentioned. And one of the pathways that research shows that CBD is really beneficial is it downregulates something called NF-kappa B. NF-kappa B is a pro-inflammatory cytokine. You're back, Ryan. I was just telling them about NF-kappa B. Can you see me? All right. All right. I don't know. Okay. So the NF-kappa B is a pro-inflammatory cytokine that CBD helps to attenuate. So NF-kappa B is higher in a lot of autoimmune conditions. NF-kappa B is higher in even things like anxiety and depression and fatigue. So anyway, if you want to find a natural way to lower and attenuate NF-kappa B, you want to do it. And one of the great ways to do that is CBD. And I talk about in Ketotarian in my first book how beta-hydroxybutyrate, which your body endogenously naturally makes in the state of nutritional ketosis, is another signaling molecule, another epigenetic modulator like CBD, to help to calm down NF-kappa B and the COX-2 pathway and the NLRP3. Basically, all these inflammasomes and cytokines that are super high in autoimmune conditions, anxiety, muscle pain, digestive problems, all this stuff. And it helps to lower that naturally. So to me, I think that like a clean diet, like a ketotarian way of eating or any other clean anti-inflammatory way of eating helps to lower that. But CBD is a great tool to work in conjunction with food as medicine, which is paramount, and upregulating all these pro-antioxidant pathways, longevity pathways, and just overall having optimal endocannabinoid system, which is good for our mood, which I guess we can talk a little bit later, is the CBD's specific role in the brain just beyond inflammation, which I think is fascinating. Brian, are you able to see this stuff, hear me? I don't know, guys. I think this has been a solo webinar. But I love the questions coming in, guys, so keep them coming in. And if you could also let me know via chat if you are seeing me all right and the signal is good. Like seeing all of you guys good, but I don't know if you're seeing me. Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. I just switched over to another connection and it seems to be smoother now. So if I popped off for a second, that was the reason why, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I was just sharing about NF-kappa B, the pro-inflammatory cytokine, and its ability to CBD's ability to lower that. And people are telling me I see both the entire time. Thank you, Tara.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
You guys are awesome, and the questions are amazing. I'll try to get to as many as possible, so keep the questions coming. And let me know if the connection's not good at any point. And I appreciate that, guys. All right. Someone said Brian is back and better than ever. Victoria.
Yes. Well, I think one other area that we get a lot of questions about that I'd love to touch on is organic and why that's important here. I'd like to talk about a few of the different, because there's very, very varying degrees of quality of product out there, but also different methods that aren't necessarily better or worse, but knowing which is which, so you could figure out which is right for you. But with organic, this was something that was another key factor in our decision of when to enter the market. We did not want to be able to go to market without an organic product. And so as soon as USDA started to approve organic CBD, that's when we launched. And the reason being, because I don't think organic is always like the be-all, end-all and a necessity. But when it comes to CBD, the hemp plant is a phytoremediation plant. What it does is it pulls from the soil both the great minerals and vitamins, but also the toxins. And so if you're not growing in very clean, fertile soil, well, you're going to pull that up. It's kind of like going to the juice bar and getting a non-organic juice where you're getting a concentrated shot of pesticides and whatever else is, in that. And so we really believe in organic being a great way to distinguish quality. Again, it's not everything, but it's a really good way to make sure that it's passed all of these rigorous tests and qualifications in order to be in that space. So I do think that's a great thing to look for whenever you're looking at CBD. So we touch on a few of the other differentiators with CBD as far as like broad spectrum, full spectrum. I heard somebody in here posted a question in the chat about, if they're doing drug tests and how to respond to that. And that all comes into play here. So when you're looking at full spectrum versus broad spectrum versus isolate, you're looking at different degrees of filtering out the plant. And so for us, we use a full spectrum process. What that does is that keeps the integrity of the whole plant. We try to keep everything just as nature intended. There's this great quote from D. Hock: "Nature will never surrender its secrets to the measure of the yardstick." And I think that applies here. We don't necessarily understand everything that's going on, but that term that you might have heard in the industry, the entourage effect, speaks to the sum being far greater than the individual parts. And when it comes to CBD, you have these different cannabinoids and you also have these different terpenes in there. And those profiles are very unique. Each strain is different, and then each process for extracting is different. So when it's full spectrum, you're getting that full spectrum of cannabinoids and terpenes. We can get more into the weeds, no pun intended, on what each, the terpenes and cannabinoids can offer in different products. But that's, at a top level what the full spectrum process is. Then when you go to broad spectrum, well, that's filtering out some of the terpenes, some of the cannabinoids, and also the THC. And so while to sell in the US CBD legally, it has below 0.3% of THC. What this means is it's not going to get you high. So if that's what you're looking for, it's not going to work. It's very low. In most drug testing, it will not show up. However, in fields where they are very stringent, such as law enforcement or in the medical field or some other areas, some of them have testing where there is a concern. My whole philosophy with testing, and I'm not suggesting that anybody should use or shouldn't use based on testing. You have to do your own research and find out for yourselves. But this was a thing that came about decades ago, where people were concerned if they ate too many poppy seed bagels that they would test positive for heroin. And there's kind of some of these similarities that are at play here. But so just do the research, check what's right for you. If possible, it's my personal recommendation to always go for full spectrum if you can, because of that added benefit. The third one that I mentioned is when you have isolate. So isolate is, think of that as being done more in a lab where they're taking the plant extraction and they're isolating the CBD in that plant. And so you're removing all the other compounds and just getting CBD. The analogy we use here is, look, if that's what you need to use because of any reasons with drug tests and so on, so be it. But it's kind of like eating a vitamin C pill versus eating the whole orange. And so we always, go for nature as it was intended.
That's great. I think something that a lot of people have asked me over the last couple of years is the brain supporting benefits, the mood supporting benefits of CBD. If we could talk about that, because I'm excited about the research surrounding CBD's ability to not only lower inflammation, which, as we mentioned, that cytokine model of cognitive function, how inflammation impacts mental health. It lowers things like NF-kappa B, which is great for brain health and systemic health. But its impact on sort of activating the prefrontal cortex and downregulating the amygdala, sort of increasing our master controller, the adult in the room, so to speak, and the petulant child amygdala, that sort of reptilian part of our brain, can start to be downregulated. And those CB1 receptors, those endocannabinoid receptors that you mentioned, the fact that they can help to balance GABA and glutamate, sort of supporting an increase of our relaxing neurotransmitter GABA and decreasing the excitatory glutamate. And also, I know studies where CBD has been shown to increase hippocampal neurogenesis, actually making new neurons in the hippocampus. So a lot of really cool brain things, like mechanisms in the research. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because that's one of the reasons why I use CBD, is from like a mood supporting standpoint, and a lot of my patients see benefits from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not going to try to touch any of the science part of it. I think you just covered all of that. But what I will say is, all of this is connected in our bodies. And back to homeostasis, our body is working in concert. There's billions of cells that are all working to help the body to come back to homeostasis. And that's that ideal state where we're feeling good because we don't have elements that are nagging us. And so CBD helps us, again, to get out of that stress state and that inflammation state, which allows the body to be at an optimal place. And so, we like to say this notion of when you take it, you could just drop in. You drop out of your head the tension that you're holding on to. We're, as a society, largely stuck in our heads. It's this very intellectual-based society, and when we're staring at screens and thinking so much, this allows us to just loosen up. And it's not that you don't have your cognitive function. In fact, I find that I'm sharper. When I could drop out of that stress state, it goes more into that state of flow, where things come easier and I could move through it without that constriction. So I just feel a general better flow and a better sense of well-being.
Yeah, totally. So just to recap what we just said, CBD is a great tool, and there's evidence to show from the research of its ability to lower inflammation, to support the brain in multiple different ways. The prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, supporting GABA function, the sort of relaxing state, and the parasympathetic system. Because all of this, what is this all predicated on? A healthy endocannabinoid system. So I think that's really exciting research around it. So those are the main reasons that I use CBD personally and with my patients as well, is the brain supporting benefits, the anti-inflammatory benefits. I think generally, because so much of our modern world, the endocannabinoid system isn't healthy, so it's a great way to just generally support a healthy endocannabinoid system. What are some of the other ways that people use CBD beyond that? Is there any other ones that I'm missing?
Sure. There's plenty. And one other thing on that, the brain support is I want to note that what we do is, all CBD, when you're talking about a tincture, here are a couple of our tinctures so you can see, dropper bottle with the liquid. And in here, there's a carrier oil. The carrier oil is a fatty oil that helps to deliver the CBD to the bloodstream in the most efficient and effective way. What we do is we grow our own hemp seeds, and we press those into hemp seed oil. And so by using hemp seed oil, again, you're tapping into the whole plant, but it's also a really rich in omega-3s and 6s, which all support brain health and skin support and all of that, healthy heart. So, that's another way that we think that the more we're working with the natural plant, the more we get those benefits. But and back to your question, Dr. Cole, as far as other uses, we hear people with so many different uses. anxiety and stress are certainly huge ones. So people will take it in the morning, or if people are drinking coffee, they'll take it with their coffee and almost play off of like a bullet coffee in that regard. Great way to just, go about the day and manage the stress levels. I use it for sleep every night, and I cannot sing the praises of it enough. And we've heard that time and time again. Whether it be an active mind that you're just trying to turn off at the end of the night, or you're not getting that optimal REM sleep. I sleep very solid and I wake up feeling refreshed. So that's been a big one for me. Other big issues that people are working with is just either body fatigue or, breakdown, wear and tear over time. So we have a lot of athletes and we sponsor some. And, we're all very active ourselves as well. And so that's been a big one. And here we could talk about a few of the different ways of using CBD. So, if you're really trying to deal with an element such as maybe it's an elbow or shoulder or your back, anything external, we have a salve, which it's almost like a giant chapstick, and it is applied topically. And so applying that for muscle and bone arthritis, it's great for rheumatoid arthritis. A lot of folks are using it and giving us great feedback there. I use it for aching muscles, anytime that I'm hurting. A couple of things to note about different delivery methods, whether it be topical or an oil that you take sublingually under the tongue, or even we have pre-rolls, which are smokable flower. So they all have different functions and different benefits. If we look at the topical, it has the lowest absorption rate into the bloodstream, but in a localized area, it's very effective of targeting it. So you get it right on the spot. So it's really effective. And what we do is we also use other botanical ingredients in here. So we infuse the oil in here with birch bark and arnica, which are natural anti-inflammatories, a numbing agent, and great for bruising or things like that. And there's also a peppermint essential oil in here, which just builds some heat and invites more blood flow. Mm-hmm. So topically, and do you want to add anything on that before I jump on to the next one?
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad we're going through it like this. Some people are asking, what the difference between topical and, the different ways to get CBD. So topical, we would use it typically for pain, skin-based things. I find any inflammatory skin problem, a salve like that can be a great tool to consider as well. And I think you covered it really well. And then I'm seeing the questions go through. I can go back and we can answer them. But if you move on to the next one, that's great.
Yeah, so next, I think this is like the staple. It's the most commonly used, and it's the second most effective way to deliver it to the bloodstream. So here, you have a dropper bottle. There's a graduated measurement on the dropper itself. So I don't know if you guys could see that. So you see how many milliliters you're getting. Now, I know people always ask how much should I take? I wish there was a plain and simple answer. The good thing, this is homeopathy, so you're not going to overdo it and put yourself in danger or interact with other medications you might be taking. But what I say always is start small, start slow. So start with half a doser. We have a regular strength and an extra strength. You know your body. And go based off of that, and then build up to see where that tolerance is and what works best for your body. One of the other things I'm a big proponent of, and I truly, hope and see that our products are doing, is helping people to connect more with their body and their wellness. And so you want to build that vocabulary if you don't have it. So just start playing with it and see, what works. And so with this, you take whatever your amount is and you drop it under the tongue. And you want to hold it there for 30 to 60 seconds. That's where it really absorbs in and gets into the bloodstream. You feel that pretty quickly. The effects on the oil, I use that in the morning if I'm, feeling a little anxious. And, different days, I try not to make it a habit where I'm dependent on anything. But I check in. I'm all right, how am I feeling? Do I need it? And I determine how much or how little I'm going to use. I use that at night as well for sleep. That one I do pretty much use as clockwork because it's just so effective. So, you know, the absorption rate is really good here, and it gets things on like that global level around your body. And that's the beauty. It's really smart because, you know, I think of it that this plant evolved alongside of us. Our bodies have evolved with each other, and over time they've evolved together. So there's deeper wisdom in there that we can't even possibly imagine. But I know that it's just been able to target things where it kind of defies logic. So, you know, I play with it like that. Another one we get asked about a lot, which isn't in our portfolio, is edibles. There's gummies out there. We personally, and as a company, stay away from that because first off, most of the gummies out there are, you know, made with a lot of sugar and stuff, and it's, you know, that's a natural inflammatory. When we're dealing with something that's an anti-inflammatory, it's kind of counterintuitive or counterproductive rather. So we stay away from that. The other thing is, it's not like THC where when you eat an edible, you're increasing that potency because it's digesting through the stomach. With CBD, you're actually losing the vast majority of it. So you're losing, I think, like anywhere from 50 to 75% of it just from it being ingested through and digested through the stomach. On the other end of the spectrum, and this one, you know, can be a little hard for some people to approach, but because there's so much negative stigma about smoking and, you know, all of the obviously terrible aspects of what we've seen through tobacco and a lot of chemicals in that. But when smoking flower, it's by far the most, it's the fastest and most effective way to absorb it into the body, into the bloodstream. So this is something where, you know, these come in pre-rolls. It's not something where you're going to sit there and smoke a whole pre-roll. You know, you take one or two puffs, or at least if I take one puff, I feel immediately just my body drops in. You don't get high from it. Although, I mean, who knows, if you smoke one or two full ones, you might feel a little something, but it's not really meant for that. It's just to give you that feeling, again, medicinally, to feel that edge drop off. People that are experiencing chronic pain issues have given us really good feedback on it. You know, arthritis as well, or any injuries. It's been a really big one. And then for sleep, some people prefer that as well. Again, it's really about preference and figuring out what you want to try. You know, I think it's good to have a few of them in the kit and use the one that's appropriate at the time. So yeah, that's really the spectrum of different types of products and intake that you could have.
I love it. Yeah. So there you go, guys, as far as the types and practical uses of them. And like Bryan said about the dose, like I know people are asking about doses. I definitely echo what Bryan just said, starting low and slow. If you look at the scientific literature, there's a wide variety of doses, and it's, you know, therapeutic benefits, but we're all different. So starting off, you know, even at around 5 milligrams, and then working your way up from that, I would increase it by like 5 to 10 milligrams, increasing it maybe once a week. If you're more sensitive, go slower. If you're the average person, you can increase it because this is safe. It's not gonna, there's no like major side effects that, you know, people are going to be having. And obviously, if you are taking medications, you can talk with your doctor about any interaction just to play it safe, but it is generally well tolerated for people. Yeah, and I forgot about the sleep. I was thinking about the relaxation standpoint, which is a precursor to sleep, but yeah, sleep, another great tool to use CBD for to improve your sleep cycle. That's definitely great. So want to get to some people's questions? I think we covered the main points.
Yeah, I think one that we should just touch on is from Ashley right off the bat. Is CBD oil safe while breastfeeding or pregnant? So this is one of those, and Dr. Cole, I don't know if you want to jump in, but you know, the stance is that you know, you should not take it while breastfeeding or pregnant. And this is more, I think, due to lack of definitive evidence of it not having any negative effect, more than there being any proof that it does. So, again, you've got to do your own research and make your own calls there. Dr. Cole, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, that would be my position on that as well, only because there is no definitive research on it. And let me just say that CBD is no different than a lot of other different herbs. That's the same opinion for a lot of things that we know to be safe, that we know to be effective. There's no research to show it's negative, but it's just we're erring on the side of caution during that special time. And that's sort of a blanket guideline until more studies are done at that time. So yeah, it's definitely something you should talk to your doctor about. There's no research to show it's negative, but it's generally to err on the side of caution during pregnancy and nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you want me to go through these questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Function. Okay. Let's go through here. I saw some other ones. People asking about doses, but we asked that. Someone asked privately to me that obviously I think they want us to, I won't give the name out, but they said topical can help for joint pain like shoulder pain. I would say yes, it definitely can help. That's one of the best applications is for a musculoskeletal pain and skin inflammatory problems is a salve, is a topical. Brian, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I beat up my body pretty good. I can only speak from my personal experience. Again, everyone has to, try things. But so, from practicing yoga, martial arts, weightlifting, and just, pushing it hard, I'm constantly feeling either a muscle or a skeletal ache. And I absolutely use the CBD salve in my kit and see great results. There's a number of things that are working in it besides just the CBD. So I'm a big fan of this one. I always keep one in my pocket. So that's the one I take with me everywhere. The oil I use, there are certain times I use it. This one is kind of my on the spot, on the go. Cool.
Guys, questions coming to you guys. They're really asking very thoughtful questions, and keep them coming because we're going to them right now. Someone asked a good question that they basically, I can't find it right now. Here it is. Can you use CBD topically for sleep? This is from Clarisse, who asks about that.
So I am not aware of really getting the same benefits from using the topical for sleep. Dr. Cole, I'm curious what your thoughts are. But again, the absorption rate, on a localized area, you're going to get an increased absorption rate. But overall, which you would want for sleep, you're just not getting it. So
you're going to want to, your skin's your largest organ. It is largely absorbing a lot of things we put on it. So yeah, but like Brian said, it's not the top as far as the absorption rate. It's not going to be the top amount. I would use the tincture for that for sleep, but you could try. I would definitely say, if I could think back over the years of consulting patients with this stuff, there probably would be sensitive patients that could notice the difference from absorption through the skin. But the average person, I would go for the tincture for that. All right, good questions here. All right, this is an interesting question. So this is kind of what you were saying earlier with hemp seeds and sort of the misinformation on that. Lamy asks, would premium hemp seed provide the same benefits as CBD oil?
Very good question. So first off, I just want to say that there's no, the definitions can be sometimes wrongly used. And so some people call hemp oil, which is actually a CBD oil, and that's what people used to call hemp seed oil. So hemp seed oil is taking the seed from the plant that doesn't have a high concentration of CBD. So it's a non-CBD seed, and that's pressed and has the oil. So that has a very low concentration of CBD. So no, you will not get the same effects. Which hemp seed oil is great for is it's, I think, the only known vegan alternative to fish oil. It's got that perfect balance of omega-3s to 6s and all 9 essential amino acids. And so it's just a really rich oil that works perfectly with our body's chemistry. So different function, but it won't give the results of CBD.
Yeah. And obviously this is a little bit off topic, but I mean, talk about hemp seeds. I love your snacks so much. The squares, so good. You guys haven't tried that.
Yeah, the snacks are also great. And again, I mean, we're believers of let food be thy medicine and all around. So that's, that's the approach that we take. And, we'll, if you all don't have links to the site, we'll make sure that those get posted here and sent in a follow-up so you could see anything that you're interested in. The other thing I want to specify as well is, look, we really are on this mission of educating people to take their health into their own hands. Feed us as many questions after this as you want. Reach out to us. We're going to give you a phone number as well as email. Keep the questions coming. We want to make sure that you feel confident and informed to make a decision that feels good for you. And, I understand that CBD is a high price item, and, there's a lot of products out there, and people are also unsure of things. And so I'm hoping that today we're helping to clarify a lot of that. But another thing I want to do to help everyone feel at ease in trying and exploring with CBD is I'm going to offer a 30-day money-back guarantee for any of the CBD products that you buy. Try it and, get back in touch with questions or support. I want to make sure that you guys can try this because I believe that strongly in the power of this medicine and want people to just, get it in their hands to play with.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're posting this now or later, but I know that the team at Eaton Hemp is going to be posting a link, and there's a code as well for 20% off for people. Should we give that now or should we give that later?
Why not? Yeah, let's do it. I mean, yeah, look, I want as many people to get to try this and experience it as possible. So this is another way that, we're committed to trying to help that.
Cool. So you can use Dr. Cole Live. That's Dr. Cole. Let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, Dr. Cole Live. So DrCole Live, L-A-V-E or Live. Dr. Cole Live for 20% off at Eaton Hemp. So you guys can use that code, and I'm sure they'll put links too for you to get it too. But yeah, that's because you guys have been in the webinar. They are still gracious enough to offer that. That's really cool. All right, so some more questions. Somebody asked about neuropathy. I was specific to you, but will the roll-on help at all with neuropathy?
I think that one's probably better in your hands, Dr. Cole.
So, I mean, from an inflammatory standpoint, it's a great tool to try. And obviously everybody has different, levels. Like, here's the deal with this. Neuropathy is a tip of the iceberg from a functional medicine standpoint. So yes, without a doubt, the CBD ointment, roll-on salve is going to be decreasing inflammation, or the tincture is going to be decreasing inflammation. That's all good. But is it going to move the needle for you 20%, 30%, 50%, 80%? It depends on what all these other things you have to do. And that's why this is a tool. It's not the only tool. And that's something that Eaton Hemp lives by as well, that we have to look at the foods you're having. You have to look at the underlying drivers of that inflammation. So for example, if it's like a diabetic neuropathy and your blood sugar is at 300 and that's driving up that neuropathy, without a doubt, the salve or the tincture is going to help lower inflammation and be a tool to use it, but it's not going to lower the 300 blood sugar. So you have to know the other components of that too. That's my perspective on it. It's a great tool to try, but we have to don't be overly myopic on this. There's no magic pill for everybody, but it's an amazing tool for people. And for some people, it's a lifesaver, because if they're in a horrible pain, this could be an amazing abater of that. Or if they're not getting good sleep at night, they are getting restorative sleep because of CBD. Or if they're having runaway anxiety, this is a great tool for them. So we're all different with different pieces to our health puzzle, and this is a tool to try that. I don't know if I said that all right, but
yeah, no, I think you did, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it's really important that we develop multiple tools to address any of the things we're experiencing. Obviously, if it's a symptomatic issue, then yeah, like start treating that symptom, but try to get down to that root causal point. But, I think there's a lot at play here. There's what we're eating. There's the active lifestyle. And, I think another big one is breath. I'm, certified as a yoga instructor. And one of the things we focus a lot on is pranayama, or breathing techniques. And, a lot of them were actually used to bring us from that sympathetic nervous system state into the parasympathetic state. And I think, when you start combining these things together, just some simple breathing techniques with using, I like to play with that and just see the different effects. It starts to compound, and you start seeing just how powerful these things can be. So, yeah, I think, the more curious and playful that we could be about it, the more fun it becomes.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And then someone asked, CBD and weight loss. Do you know any research on that? I mean, I can give a few mechanisms I'm thinking of, but.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I go back again to supporting the endocannabinoid system, because that's what's regulating digestion. It's also what's helping to regulate the building of muscle. And so, all of these things that come into play. And then stress is another big one too. But I think you probably have more direct research on it.
Yeah, I've a few of those things that you just mentioned. I just think if the body's in a sympathetic fight or flight state, cortisol's really high. You're in this HPA axis, like the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis is constantly going. That's not a state for weight loss. So anything you can do to start to move the needle in a parasympathetic, resting, digesting, fat burning state is a good thing. But again, for some people, it's going to move the needle in a major way. For some, it's going to be in a smaller way. So it's a tool to use, but it has to be in concert with all the other components of your wellness journey too. So that would be what I would say. And inflammation in general. I mean, if you look at the mechanisms that play for a lot of different weight loss resistance patterns, the commonality is inflammation. So it's a great tool to support lowered inflammation levels. And a healthy endocannabinoid system is a healthy endocrine system, hormonal system. So, yeah, those are all things that I could think of. And then a few people asked, can it be shipped to Canada? And then also, can it be shipped to countries where cannabis use is not legal with the regulations of CBD versus cannabis itself? They want to know how they can get Eaton Hemp if they live in their country.
And we are working on this. This is one of these things that unfortunately we're, taking it on one at a time. And the U.S. was really, first. Finn, you could jump in here. Finn's on our team and handles a lot of that. But I think at this time, we're still not able to ship out of the country. Finn, correct me if I'm wrong there.
You can put it in the chat. I'm sure,
yeah, but I mean, look, we are constantly working on trying to get that rectified, and we do see a lot of change happening there. Not always as fast as we'd like, but it's moving in that direction. So next time you visit the States or have a friend visit the States, definitely stock up. But I think that's unfortunately the best we could do right at this time.
And I think Ben gave a phone number to call to get.
Great. Yeah, because he might have more info on that. I see another question here. What is the difference between uptime and downtime? That's from Alicia Riley, and that's referring specifically to the pre-rolls. There's two different types, downtime and uptime. And, the main difference, they kind of speak for themselves. So uptime is a strain that is going to be it still drops you into that flow state. It takes you out of that nervous system, fight or flight. But you feel a little more energized, and I find it great for creativity or just hanging out and relaxing. The downtime is when you really want to just turn off. This is a great one for sleep as well. So those are really the main differences. And one of the things that I want to note as well, you'll see this on all of our products. There's QR codes. Somebody asked if we did clinical trials. We haven't done clinical trials, but we have all of our third-party lab tests. We want to make that as available and easy for people. So you take out your phone, take a photo of that. It brings you right to our lab reports, and that's on all of our products. You'll find that QR code there. So all the information is there. We also have a glossary of terms on our website in case you're looking at the lab report and want to understand something a little bit better.
Cool. Well, this is really good. I think we covered some amazing things. Is there anything you want to cover before we go?
Let me look back at my list. I love that we were just kind of, rolling with it and not getting too, structured, which I think is good. I think we get a lot of questions about, the different products that are out there. I've said certainly that, there are different methods and qualities that are out there. Try for yourself. Maybe don't go and buy any at the gas station that they're selling, but try different reputable brands. See which one works best with you. Our chemistry is all different, and so, see how it works. Another thing is, like, you'll find a lot that are out there that are like coffee flavored or raspberry flavored. We're not that brand, I could say this because I think this is more of a medicinal community. We approach this as medicine. We keep it in its purest form. You'll taste the plant and I love the flavor, but you're going to really connect with the true essence of the plant and of the medicine. I think explore that when you're trying other brands as well and see which ones, really resonate for you.
Yeah, that's good. Someone asked how long the code is for. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, Finn, you want to chime in on that one?
All right. Yeah, so maybe we should give people like websites if they want to learn more on anything.
Absolutely.
What I do at drwillcole.com. We offer a free webcam or phone health evaluation if you want a functional medicine perspective on your case. And you can get links at drwillcole.com to the Inflammation Spectrum Ketotarian. Those are my 2 books talking about these things that we've talked about in today's webinar. And what's the best contacts for people to learn more about Eaton Hemp?
Yeah, so if you go to EatonHempCBD.com, you'll find all the information about it. If you go to just EatonHemp.com, we have our snacks there too. We're in the process of merging sites. That was due to regulations that have just been changed, thankfully. So, it's been a wild ride getting to this point, and we're thrilled that hemp and CBD and, the cannabis family is really coming to the forefront now and is available. Again, that code is Dr. Cole Live for 20% off. And I think we're also going to do our giveaway. Finn, can you chime in on that? I want to get that going as well.
They're going to have a giveaway, guys.
Yeah, come on, why not, right? So we're going to be giving away 1 ounce tincture. You can choose whichever strength that you want. We have regular strength and extra strength. And you know what the hell? I think I want people to be able to, whoever this winner is, and everyone really, to be able to try the different uses. So I'm going to also throw in a small salve. So the winner is going to get both of those. Let's see. Yeah, I like all of the excitement. Ashley, Carrie, Alicia. All right.
The code is for both sites or just the one?
That code, you know what? We're going to make that code. I don't know if we could do this, but Finn, figure it out. And let's make that code for both sites as well.
They want the snacks too.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, who are we to hold the snacks from the people?
No, I love my snacks. I'm not going to keep that from anybody.
Okay, so I'm not seeing Finn's response here. Are you? We're getting a lot of comments, so we're just trying to work through those. Give us 1 sec. Yeah, are there any last questions while we're just getting that sorted out?
Comment your favorite number and we'll choose random. That's what Finn said. Look at these favorite numbers, guys.
Wow.
If we're
I love seeing people's numbers. Mine's 22.
Oh, cool. Mine's probably, that's funny. Mine's 33. It's funny. 50.
Yours is 23. I think we saw someone else who's in here as 23. Lindsay's 23. All right, I just got the winner. So if everybody's ready, drum roll, please. And the winner is Trish. Congratulations, Trish. You have won your choice of 1 ounce tincture, and we're going to also throw in a small super salve. So we'll be in touch on that shortly. Congratulations. And yes, everybody else, you know, be in touch by email, phone, and we'll be sending out all those details if anything was missed. We're also on social media at Eaton Hemp. And please stay in touch and give it a try and let us know what you think. Thank you all for making the time and showing up. And we hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cole. Great seeing you.
Bye.